Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Unlimited video. I have got another set 3 deck profile for you today, and this is for the leader I am by far most excited for, and I'm really delighted to say is shaping up to be very playable. Competitively viable, not 100% sure, but absolutely I will be taking this to as many local level events as I can to start out with, and that is Chancellor Palpatine, Darth Sidious. So I think unlike other leaders, we really do need to just drill a little bit into what this guy does for you to understand how this deck works. And I should say it is Palpatine Blue. Because I think this gives you by far the most just broken collection of cards to like actually make this deck function. So firstly, what does Palpatine do? So you start the game with this side face up on Cunning Hero. Or yellow-white if you are a normal person. As an action, tap. And one thing to bear in mind is when the leader taps and it flips over, it doesn't untap, so it comes in. So if you tap it and flip it, it comes in like that. You tap him. If a friendly white unit was defeated this phase, draw a card, heal 2 from your base, and then flip this leader. So on his Darth Sidious side, he is yellow-black. Action, if you tap. If you played a black card this phase, create a clone trooper token, deal 2 damage to each enemy base, and then flip this leader. So, basically, what you can see this means is the first flip is the hardest, because once you've flipped him once, you're creating a clone token, which is going to die, which is going to let you go to Sidious, which you play a dark card, and so it becomes much easier to flip between the two, and your big thing is then just making sure you have enough black cards later on in the game. To ensure that you are flipping. But the hardest thing to do is just get that first flip going. And that's very important in sort of building the deck. The other thing to realize is this is a crazy advantage engine. You make a 2/2, you draw a card, you heal 2, you ping 2. Right? Like every sort of cycle, which is very strong. Obviously better earlier in the game than later on in the game. But to be honest, if you look at how long leaders tend to be surviving nowadays, I think having a passive ability like this may be better. As we move, and especially as we move into metas and the game gets more and more power crept in it, but that's the nature of the game, and leaders become easier and easier to deal with. Something like this that is just going to let you keep sort of plussing is going to be very valuable. Okay, so we're playing Palpatine, Sidious, Blue. Why are we playing Blue? Well, I think basically the biggest reason is 2 reasons. 1 is the top end, and 2 is the bottom end. The middle is, and 3 is the middle. Honestly, it just gives you the most ridiculous set of cards. So I've split this into sort of packages, and the first thing we need to do is we need to get our flipping going. And I think these 14 cards are staple. I don't think this will change until we get new cards. So the first is 3 copies of the new R2-D2. This is completely essential. This is it's a 2/4 that lets you filter. It's a heroism. The worst part about this card is it's actually kind of hard to get killed. Sometimes that can be a struggle, but again, not like the biggest deal in the world. Then we got 3 Restored Arc. This is a space heroism option. Has Restore 1. It's just a good card. Then we have got 3 Lothal Insurgents. This is a 3/2 with a when played to later on in the game that potentially gives you some upside. And then the best card in the deck, to be honest, at the early stage of the game, is Queel. So what you're going to notice, and I'm going to separate them out into number of blue cards and number of yellow cards. And you're basically going to see that the vast majority of cards in this deck are blue. Not all of them. We do need to play some yellow. But honestly, like, it is overwhelmingly blue. So Queel is a 2/3 restore that basically says draw 1. The hand size you get in this deck is kind of stupid. You can find yourself with a lot of cards very quickly. Okay, so that's Queel. And then the thing I think that really brings this package together is 2 Geonosis Patrol Fighter, because exploit counts. So what this means is if you open any one of these plus Geonosis Patrol Fighter, you are guaranteed to have your flip. R2 lets you find it, so that gives you loads of extra consistency there. Obviously, you can crash these units too, and anything that's a 2/3 or a 3. So basically, anything that's not R2 is going to be very easy as long as they don't lane dodge. But even if they do lane dodge, Patrol Fighter is ridiculous because it's a 3/2, so it's going to be quite so. It's good stats. You're going to sack the thing to get flipping, and you get to bounce whatever your opponents play turn 1. So just insanely powerful card. So just staple. Might go up to 3. We'll see. Okay, then we have our 3-drops, and there are quite a few of these as well, and these are also all hero. So that's 3 Yoda, 3 Village Protectors, and then we also have 3 Concord Dawn Interceptors. Now, why are we playing all hero 3-drops? The reason is it's possible for you to flip into villain on that turn. And then play a villain card, but like there's not really much benefit to that. You are always going to be on the hero side at some point during that turn, so it's much better for you to just play your card. So let something die, get your flip, and then go from there. Concord Dawn Interceptors and Village Protectors are just your insurance against aggro decks, completely blowing you out, and Yoda is just a very, very powerful card. And again, it's also a consistency booster. Okay, then once we get to 4 resources, now we are on the villain side. So we are playing 2 copies of Bazine. This is a 4-drop because basically you're just going to resource it and then you can smuggle it out. And the real card you want to be seeing is Chilton. So this is a deck that gets to play Queel and Chilton in it, which is crazy. And you can see the sheer number of blue cards we're playing, and there's going to be even more. The consistency this deck has is just kind of insane. Like so far we have, 10 yellows, and I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 more coming. Yeah, like 4 more cards are yellow. So like it's overwhelmingly blue, which is great because Chilton's always going to be a 5/5 or a 6/6. It's going to give you that nice insurance against aggro. And indeed, it potentially can let you outrace as well, though obviously with Django sitting there tapping down your stuff, I wouldn't get too excited about that. But if you're healing and you're interacting, then that's always good. Basically, one of the big things you do need to be aware of is space decks, which is why I may go up to another reason I may go up to a 3rd Geonosis Patrol Fighter. But yeah, so that is the sort of, that's your early game, right? Your early game is start flipping and play a Chilton. Is basically the goal. So you will be back into hero on 5 resources, which means you can play like a 2 and a 3 or whatever, and then go back for 6 to flip. Anyway, the big thing you will need to do is make sure you are flipping as much as possible. So there are a couple other villainy cards we're playing to help you get there. But obviously, like cards like Bazina are going to get you there. Okay, so then we have our. I'll save a top end actually. It's more important, I think, to talk about the events. So we'll put the events here. We have 2 Fell the Dragon, 2 Takedown, 3 Power of the Dark Side. That's all we're playing for events. So I think this is just your standard sort of setup. Now, Power of the Dark Side is really important because you can play this turn 2, so you can engineer that just by making sure you've killed one of your things. So if you're able to trade like a Restored Arc or something, or a Lothal Insurgent, most likely, if you can trade the Lothal Insurgent, flip Power of the Dark Side, you can get that, and whilst also still being able to play something like Chilton or Bazine next turn, because you won't be able to double flip. But also, like on resource 5, 6, this is very, very strong. The main thing you need to do is like keep flipping and ensure you're back on hero by 7 resources, ideally. You don't have to be. Honestly, like 7, you're kind of happy with whatever you play because you've got some pretty broken options. And then obviously like Takedown and Fell the Dragon are just generically very, very strong. We also play a couple upgrades, and those are Frozen in Carbonite and Perilous Position. So these are just insane cards. So Frozen in Carbonite is a set 2 card that just says exhaust the attached unit and it can't ready. Really, really strong in just... It doesn't go onto leaders, but anything else you just say no. Which is very, very, very important into... Like if your opponent just makes something really, really big and you just don't want to deal with it, you can get rid of it. Perilous Position, similarly, exhaust the attached unit and it gives it -2/-2 permanently. So this is a great card, just slap onto a leader. It's going to tap it down for that 1 turn. It's potentially, if they're relying on some sort of on attack, is going to be really, really nice from that perspective. And then on top of that, like you get the value of it being very, very reduced stats. Okay, I've teased you enough. So this is let's talk about top end. And of course, one of the reasons we are playing this deck in blue is we get Luke Skywalker. This card is absolutely broken. It's only gotten better as the game has gone on. And yeah, just crazy. We also are playing 2 copies of Cad Bane, a new absolute bomb. I tempted to go to 3, but I think that is a little bit too much. But you definitely could rejig part of this top end to get there. Yeah, like Cad Bane's just ridiculous. A really important card in letting you stabilize. In particular into some of those like space aggro decks. And again, if you keep healing and you keep like, and then you get to control you get to get the whole board, and then yes, they get to get their cards back, but you're drawing 2 every single time. Your card advantage is ridiculous in this deck. I'm to the point where like there's a lot of those kind of like I'm thinking of playing like Unmasking the Conspiracy and stuff to just like be able to do more hand ripping. Maybe that's a good card for the sideboard, just depending on the matchup. But yeah, just really, really good. Maybe that's a good card for the main board, to be honest. I should we'll experiment with that. But anyway, yeah, so that's your first party top end. Then we are playing one more event here, but this is kind of like top endy, and that is Super Laser Blast. Yep, good card is good. Reset the board. Lets you flip back into clone. So if you play that and then you board reset, make a clone token, and you're happy. Snoke and Avenger is our remaining top end bombs. So yeah, as you can see here, right, like there are 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 yellow cards. So it's 36 blue. So overwhelmingly likely to be seeing a really nice Chilton, to be hitting Queel a majority of the time. And yeah, honestly, this deck feels really, really good. I implore you to try it out. It is so fun. Like just sitting there and going flip back, forth, back, flip back, forth, flip back, forth, generating loads and loads of advantage. It's just great fun. And it's good. I think like the one thing I would be worried about at the moment is like Han 1 yellow. Because like if they're stealing your resources, that can be a bit shit. But like also you're not really dependent. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys found this useful. If you did, please like, subscribe to the channel for lots more Star Wars Unlimited content. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Cheers.